As we've worked on collaboration, we've tried to distill it down into its essence. And we found that the companies that are doing it well are doing 4 things better than most other companies. The first thing that they're doing is that they're doing a better job of listening. If you think of human relationships, this idea of listening is central. You build a relationship with a friend or neighbor by listening to them and absorbing pieces of information about them so that you know them better. And you remember those things so you can access them later. Well, when you scale that to work with a company, listening becomes more of a database. It's a hub of information where you can capture knowledge that you're acquiring over time. Not just from conversations, but from documents, meetings, emails, transactions, and dozens of other sources. Organizations that collaborate well together do an exemplary job with that. They combine good basic processes with technology tools to facilitate listening. What they do with that knowledge is the second of the 4 elements. That's this idea of understanding who are their customers and what do they need? Who are they as employees and colleagues? How do they better leverage the talents of the team? Even who are they as a company? How do they make sure that they're unified in their purpose? Understanding means taking the data that they've already captured by listening and making it available to make better decisions with customers, with team building, with company strategy. And that means that the data needs to be available in the right context to the right person. An executive, salesperson, operations manager, and an accountant, they all need the same data, but they need a different view of it for their decisions. So the companies that excel with this make information available to everyone in the company, but in the context that suits their individual needs. It was Stephen Covey who said that our problem is not that we don't listen, it's that we listen with the intent to reply instead of with the intent to truly understand. And companies that are doing collaboration well, from a cultural and philosophical level all the way down to an operational and technology level, are creating an environment where people can analyze and understand each other, the company, and their customers in an organized and structured way. The third element that the leaders do well is this idea of connecting. So we've listened and understood, but how do we connect better as a result of all this knowledge that we've acquired? Some companies are good at acquiring knowledge, but few are good at connecting the dots and transforming that into action, into creating better and more successful connections inside and outside of the organization. One simple example, companies report that 62% of the time spent in meetings is a complete waste of time. We're meeting about the wrong things, we're discussing irrelevant topics, we're inviting the wrong people, and we're not structuring our meetings correctly. Another statistic, the average employee works 47 hours per week, nearly an extra day each week. Studies show that people engage in a workplace where they know that their efforts are making a difference. Most people are willing to put in extra hours, at least for a while, when they know that it is making a difference. But in the typical organization, standard approaches at collaboration are creating time drains, not efficiencies. And employees are having to make up for it by digging into their own personal time. That leads to disengagement, burnout, and generally less collaboration. Collaboration processes and technologies have been proven to be able to turn that around. Now, that doesn't mean that everyone will work a shorter work week, but what it does mean is that people start to know that whatever time they're investing is making a difference, and that creates a much more collaborative atmosphere. The fourth part is critically important, but it's also the most frequently overlooked component. It's the idea of knowing. This idea of coming together as a team and asking, what results, both in terms of value and measurable ROI, have we created by working together? And how can we improve those? Most organizations do little to measure their results, but those that not only measure their results, but understand their failures and how to fix them, those are the ones that are agile. Those are the ones that are constantly growing and not stagnating. Those are the ones where the employees are highly engaged. And as I said a moment ago, this is the most often overlooked part of collaboration. Most people think that they don't have time to stop and measure. They're too consumed with moving on to the next challenge to take the time to consider lessons learned. They undervalue how important it can be for others in the organization to learn from their successes and failures and to share that knowledge. But the research shows a direct correlation between taking the time to learn, top and bottom line growth, and outpacing the competition when compared to industry normatives. There's an easy way to remember these 4 keys to success. The luck principle, L-U-C-K. Listen, understand, connect, and know spells luck. And if you're thinking about a customer or employee engagement project, a collaboration project, in your organization, think across these 4 dimensions. How will you improve one or more of these 4 areas as a result of the efforts that you're putting in? Most organizations implement a CRM, collaboration, or engagement project because it is what everyone else is doing or a software demo was compelling. But they only find out that it not only falls short of expectations, but it may actually be counterproductive, as we'll see in just a moment. Keeping luck in mind is a good way to establish a vision and keep a project on track. So if luck is the key to effective collaboration, why are companies having such a hard time with it? And why is it so important now? Seriously, haven't we been collaborating together since before history began when we hunted wildebeest together? Weren't the quill pen, the printing press, and the phone great breakthroughs in collaboration? Why is it different now? To understand this, let's take a look at the typical organization. Most organizations start with a philosophy of being people-centric. They bring in people who are naturally good at working together. They might identify some distributors or other partners to help them go to market, and they attract customers. And they even develop some systems to help them better serve their customers and do their work more efficiently. Now, collaborating across all of those people and systems is a little bit of a challenge, but the good news about these organizations is to have made it through this critical first stage of growth, they have to have had instilled the value of luck into their team or hired people who already have those values. So they make do, and they're good at collaborating. They follow the luck principle intuitively, and they can accomplish a lot that way. But over time, something terrible happens. The organization grows. They grow organically, they acquire other companies, they spread out across multiple offices around a country or around the globe. They add new direct customers, they add new lines of business to serve them. They begin reaching out to influencers and identifying opportunities in new markets, and they add new types of partners that help them go to market better. And to help their business scale, they add new systems. All of that adds new customers. And one day they wake up to find that collaborating has become a much more complex exercise. Employees are no longer communicating in their small office, but in a much larger and more complex office, and with additional offices in other locations, with people that may have never met face to face, and with a larger, more diverse network of partners and customers. And now they have to learn a lot of systems to get their job done, so the learning curve has just steepened quite a bit. And, of course, they have a lot more customers that they need to work with. So it begins to become difficult for the team to understand the full picture of what's going on. Seemingly basic questions begin to take a heroic effort to find answers to, like, what are frontline employees learning from customers after a recent product launch that the executive team can learn from? Did anyone work those leads that the marketing department spent so much time developing? Who is the best expert within the organization on a specific subject? What's the most recent version of a process document or proposal that the team was editing together? And how many customers did the company lose in the last 12 months? Almost every organization can tell you what their revenues were and how much they gained or lost in 12 months, but almost none of them can answer the same question about customers. And that confusion spreads to customers and partners. They start having a very hard time finding the person or information that they need. Ultimately, this leads to missed expectations across the company, customers, and partners, and employees, powerless to change the situation, become frustrated and disengaged, which only further compounds a problem. And although the company may still be getting by, this model is not going to scale. To grow, the company will have to add people in direct proportion to their growth ratio. And they might even need to add more, because as they add new people, complexity increases, and they need more people to help manage that growing complexity. And this is the point at which most companies add a new system, such as a CRM or collaboration system, thinking that this will solve the problem. But what it really does is introduce a new layer of complexity without removing anything. As one person put it, we felt like we were marching up a mountain with a heavy pack on our backs, and the leadership team said, "Here, this should help," and threw another rock into our packs. Successful collaboration initiatives solve problems not only by providing new tools, but by reducing the weight of the other tools, taking some rocks out of that pack. They create one central clearinghouse for this process called luck. So when we listen, we can put the knowledge into one corporate memory instead of having it scattered across lots of systems and people that need to be consulted in order to reassemble a full picture of the situation. Now, don't misunderstand. This is not saying that there is no more need for individual communication. In fact, that need is probably increasing. But if we have a central way to coordinate all of that communication and track it, it saves a tremendous amount of time. And maybe more importantly, it significantly reduces frustration, creating an environment where customers and employees engage because they know that their voice is heard and that they make a difference.